You sign a contract the day you bring a pet into your home. I'm not talking about the piece of paper you sign, but the promise to feed them, care for them, and when the day comes, release them of their pain. Last July, my cat Arnold was diagnosed with cancer. It was devastating to hear that he only had 3 to 4 months left. There was no cure, there was nothing I could do. All I wanted was to make sure that I'd choose the right time to let him go. And sometimes that can be the hardest part. But there are key things you can look for when determining this very painful decision.
We have the privilege in veterinary medicine that doesn't exist in human medicine, which is euthanasia.
It's the hardest but yet greatest act of love you could possibly give your pet, putting their needs above your desire to always have them at your side.
In November, one morning, we looked up and he had this huge knot on his inner back leg, and it was like, where did that come from?
Out of nowhere.
She was touching it and she was like, yeah, this is a little concerning. She did pretty much point blank at that point say that it's probably not good news.
Betty's dog Ferris had an extremely aggressive form of cancer.
You come to see me and you think, I'm going to tell you, yes, we can treat your cat or dog and get it to live 3, 4, 5 years, but realistically, a lot of our tumors, we're talking prognosis less than a year, even with more aggressive forms of treatment.
It was devastating because we thought we were going to have him for a lot longer. I mean, we thought he would probably live another 5 years or something like that.
It's natural to be hell-bent on a cure, but sometimes there just isn't.
One of the things we could have done is amputated his leg up to his hip. But that would have given him maybe a couple of extra months. And it's like, why would you do that to a dog?
We don't even know that chemotherapy or surgery or radiation is going to benefit that animal. So a lot of people do end up doing palliative care and are just really happy with the time that they get.
So how do you determine the approach to your beloved pet's end-of-life care?
Quality of life is most important. And how I ask them to gauge quality of life is to pick 5 things that their pet likes to do the most, and eating needs to be one of them. And getting them a physical calendar and marking good and bad days down and seeing that trend over time. Good days are doing 3 or more of their favorite activities. Bad days are 2 or less. And if we get to that point where we're having more bad days than good days in our 7-day period, we have to say, is it because of their disease?
One of the biggest red flags of progressive disease involves appetite.
We want to make sure that that animal is eating. So if we're noticing that animals that typically finish their meals and sometimes finish them within matters of seconds at hitting the bowl aren't doing that, that should be sending off red flags.
Ferris had great quality of life in the few weeks that followed his cancer diagnosis. Betty and her family spending his birthday, Christmas, and Thanksgiving all in one day at the end of November. And then one December day, Betty had to reach a painful decision.
And he was just laying in bed. I was getting ready for work. I was blowing my hair dry, sitting on the ground, and his head was hanging over the bed. And I just felt the look in his eyes. It's like, I'm done. I'm done. I give you permission. So we called the vet, and so that was the day.
Sometimes we cry right alongside with you, but we are, as veterinarians especially, able to give that animal a goodbye surrounded by the people they love the most. And that, for me, as sad as it is also a happy feeling.
There's still a huge gaping empty hole because, like, when I came home every day, he was there waiting at the top of the steps with a toy. We did bury him in my backyard. And we planted tulips, black and white tulips on his grave, and so they just came up. So he will continue to live with us.
When your pet's illness is terminal, you're often left asking yourself, will today be the day I have to let go? Remember, your furball can still have great quality of life, and what I've learned in my own experience is that some of the days after a terrible diagnosis can be some of the best yet. Ed Russo, CBS 21 News.